So this past week I have watched 4 movies, 2 movies, well 4, I don't really know to be honest. I mean, look, let's face it, I watched Deadpool and Wolverine, I watched Rebel Moon, the director's cut, both chapters by the way, which is the Snyder cut of Rebel Moon, and I'll dive into that in just a second. And I've also watched the new SpongeBob SquarePants movie on Netflix as well. So I'm going to dive into those reviews for you in the next few moments of the movie wrap-up. You're watching Steve's Movie Wrap-Up, episode 39 on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. The first movie we'll be reviewing in this episode is Deadpool and Wolverine. So this movie is actually at number 1 on my top 20 movies of 2024 so far, which is obviously now available to watch on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. If you want to see the countdown for my top 20 movies of 2024 so far, then the video is available for you guys to watch now on my YouTube channel, SteveOfficial. So feel free to check it out if you've not yet checked it out after this video is finished. But we're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine though, which I gave 4.5 stars over on Letterboxd. Now, I have now watched Deadpool and Wolverine. I saw it in the cinemas with some mates of mine, which, by the way, I did vlog with my mates, Maxine and Harry. Hello, if you are watching this video, Maxine and Harry. And thank you, by the way, for meeting up with me this week. I really did appreciate it a lot. And, of course, when the weekly vlogs do return on the 19th of August, you will see a little bit of content with Maxine and Harry as well. But yes, so I did go to the cinema to see this with some mates of mine, by the way, which made the experience seeing it a lot more fun. And I will say that I did also watch it in a recliner chair as well, which made the experience of watching it really cool. The only shameful thing was that I was not able to get a popcorn bucket or a cup while seeing the film, as the cinema had sold out. And when I saw if they had it in stock at my local cinema back home, they didn't. They were sold out there too. However, I do know that people are selling them on eBay for double the price you would have paid at the cinema. Sadly, I didn't see this film on opening weekend neither, whereas normally with a Marvel movie I would have done because of spoilers on the internet, but I did see it a day after opening weekend and the cinema was still packed out with Marvel nerds and fans. So what did I think of this movie? Well, the film was a lot of fun. There was cameos galore in here. There was a lot of references to drugs and a lot of swear words, which isn't normal for a Marvel movie. They had a lot of digs and jokes about Disney, mainly from Deadpool himself, and seeing the awesome dance moves from Deadpool at the beginning of the film was great, until later on when I found out online it wasn't Ryan Reynolds himself who did those dance moves. It was someone else, unfortunately, but still, one of the best opening intros to at least a Marvel movie that I have ever seen anyways. I thought the action scenes were really cool, the music scoring was great as well, the CGI was somewhat decent, although I felt as though there was times where I could notice there was some odd moments of CGI, mainly when people went through those TVA windows that open up. But that aside though, I thought the VFX were fine. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds have great chemistry in this movie. I really enjoyed their scenes together. And I really did find a lot of dialogue in this movie rather funny, to the point where me and my friends were laughing out loud quite a lot in our recliner seats. So it is safe to say that not only did I enjoy this film, but so did my friends as well, who I went and saw this film with. The film didn't feel like its running time at all. It felt like those 2 hours or so went flying by very quickly, but at the same time, when you're in that moment enjoying the film, the running time doesn't feel like it's running time. I thought the villains in the film were great. You had Cassandra Nova and Mr. Paradox together. They were great villains and were great until we get to the end of the film. And as for the post-credit scene, well, there's only one post-credit scene at the very end, and once the credits have finished rolling, and I must admit, it's probably the most funniest post-credit scene in a Marvel movie that I have seen. Also, what's weird is as the credits are rolling, we have this behind-the-scenes featurette from the past X-Men movies, which I found rather odd, but at the same time, nice to see, I guess. There wasn't a lot to the story, but as mentioned, the action scenes and cameos that we have in here does make up for that, and the film itself is rather fun as well. Is this a film that I would watch again when it releases on Disney Plus later this year? Yes, definitely, and while I am there, I might go back and revisit the first two, as it's been a while since I last watched those, and they are both great films as well. Rebel Moon Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood, and Rebel Moon Chapter 2, Curse of Forgiveness, also known as Rebel Moon the Director's Cuts. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys here, but I didn't actually do a review on Letterboxd for Rebel Moon, the Director's Cut for both chapters, so I just thought I would very quickly touch base on those films, because the first film from the first chapter was about 3 hours and 23 minutes, and boy, can I just say that it definitely did feel like its running time. The second thing that I'm going to add here is the fact that we had the chapter 2 of the director's cut, and that was slightly shorter than the chapter 1. It was 2 hours and 53 minutes. Again, both films felt like their running times. I'm not going to lie, I kind of just, I don't know, I mean, it did improve the films a little bit, in a way. If I was to give them a rating on Letterboxd, the really weird thing is actually, prior to their release on Netflix on Friday this week, I mean, we actually did have listings on Letterboxd for Rebel Moon Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. I'm just going to very quickly see, actually, whether or not they are still there or not. I don't think they are. I mean, it does actually say here, Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood, and Chapter 2, the Curse of Forgiveness. So, but the really weird thing is with Rebel Moon Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood, it doesn't come up with anything. With Chapter 2, it doesn't, I mean, yeah, again, it gives you the running time and the poster, but it doesn't give you any, like, reviews or anything like that. So, it's a really, really weird thing. But what I will say, though, is both films, they have sex, they have violence, they have nudity. I mean, to be honest, the sex scenes, I just felt like they were just very uncomfortable to watch, and they just went on and on forever. The violence in it weren't too bad, but that being said, though, they used CGI blood, and it just didn't feel very effective in any way. So, I mean, to be honest, if I was to give both films a rating out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, then I'm going to say with Rebel Moon Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood, I would give it 1.5 star over on Letterboxd. And with Rebel Moon Chapter 2, Curse of Forgiveness, I probably would have gave it maybe just a 1-star rating over on Letterboxd. I just felt like, yeah, okay, it did bring a bit more depth to the story, adding in the violence and maybe, you know, and stuff. But in terms of, like, the nudity and especially the sex scenes, I just definitely felt like we didn't need to have those very long, drawn-out sex scenes. It was just unnecessary, in my opinion, anyway. But if you do want to watch Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, Part 2, The Scargiver, or the director's cuts, which, by the way, the director for the film is Zack Snyder, then you can watch the director's cuts, which are Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood, Chapter 2, Curse of Forgiveness. They are all available to stream now over on the streaming service Netflix globally. Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. And the final film that I have seen this week is Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, which I only gave 0.5 star over on Letterboxd. So given the fact that I have sat through basically nearly 6.5 hours of the Rebel Moon director's cut on Netflix, which by the way wasn't great, it was just filled with sex, nudity and some awfully bad CGI blood, although that being said, the action sequences had slightly improved and was a lot more better than the original cut. But let's not dive into that any further, because we are here to discuss Saving Bikini Bottom the Sandy Cheeks movie, which released on the same day as those Rebel Moon director cuts movies did on Netflix. I kind of thought that this movie would be the better film than the extended Rebel Moon films were, and sadly it wasn't. Despite looking forward to seeing this film, and given the fact it's been years since I watched SpongeBob SquarePants, I thought this was going to be great, but turns out this is such a bad film. Maybe the worst movie that Netflix has put out so far in 2024. I mean, the film mainly focuses on Sandy Cheeks, who, in my opinion, from the days when I first watched SpongeBob, I thought was the most uninteresting character out of all the characters in Bikini Bottom. Could we not get a Squidward movie or something? The animation for this film felt so wrong. It wasn't the usual 2D animation that some of us grew up watching. It felt like they used the same animation that they used for the Paramount Plus series Camp Coral. Also, this is not just an animated movie neither, it's also a part live action film, which again, I feel just doesn't work. Don't get me wrong, in the 2004 SpongeBob SquarePants movie, I thought the live action elements worked well there, but for this movie, it just didn't, and sometimes when we see the live action characters interact with the animated characters, it's just painfully obvious that the animated characters and live action characters just didn't work well together. I will say though, that there is a live action dog in this film that is a pug, and I will say that the dog was adorable. The dialogue in this just felt really clunky. I'm so glad that this film was just under 90 minutes, to be honest, because if it was any longer, then I think I would have tapped out at some point. Yes, we do have appearances from other main characters like SpongeBob, Patrick, Plankton, Squidward and Mr. Krabs in this film as well, which is great to see. But as the story mainly focuses on Sandy Cheeks, I just thought this was rather bland and boring. Will this be a film I will see again? Well, based on my star rating, then definitely not. Secondly, would I recommend this movie to anyone? Well, most definitely not. I will probably say there are better family adventure movies that people could see on Netflix, and I would say don't waste your time watching this one. But in case you do want to check this film out though for yourselves, Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, is now streaming on Netflix globally. And there we go. That is all the movies that I have watched this week. I do apologise that it's probably not been a lot of films that I have seen this past week, but there we go. I will try my best to do better next week, and I'm not going to lie, I've actually got a few cinema trips lined up over the course of the next week as well, so there's a lot of films coming out, and I will be reviewing hopefully in my next episode of the movie wrap up, which will be coming up on Sunday next weekend. Now, before I do go, I just want to let you guys know that I am planning to go live on YouTube, on my YouTube channel SteveOfficial, on Saturday next weekend, which is Saturday the 10th of August 2024. I'll be going live on YouTube at 9:30 PM UK time. I'll be discussing D23. The comment section will be open for you guys to comment, even if you want to talk about anything that's not Disney related. Feel free to join the live and we'll discuss things that are even non-Disney related as well, okay? But if you have enjoyed this video though, feel free to give it a like, leave a comment in the comment section down below and let me know what films you've been watching this week, whether it be in the cinemas, whether it be on streaming, whether it's old or new. Feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, if you are new around here and you like what you see, then feel free to hit that subscribe button down below to become a Stevo. So, as mentioned, live video coming up on Saturday, 10th of August at 9:30 PM UK time. Your next movie wrap-up video will be coming up on the 11th of August at 4 PM UK time. But until then, though, it's goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again in my next YouTube video.